Got about 10 seconds, I guess.
2 minutes?
No, about 10 seconds, actually.
Oh, 10 seconds. Yeah. Okay.
I think I turned it on, but go ahead and check. Yep. All right.
Just tell me when.
Yeah, of course. All righty. So I'll give you a 5-second countdown.
Okay, and will you let me know when I'm close to finishing, because I can't see the clock.
Sure. Like what time?
Maybe 5:02. Give me 5 minutes.
Okay. All right, here we go. You'll probably have to get their attention and get everybody to settle down.
Yeah.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, and go.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. A fine, cool, brisky morning it is. I had to scrape my windshield this morning for the first time in a long time. My name is Reverend Dr. Sheldon Ganberg, and I'm a certified medium, certified healer, and a minister and a certified teacher here at the camp. And it's been a while since I've been here teaching adult Lyceum, and I'm excited to be back here and looking forward to sharing this far-reaching subject. One of my main interests and passions as a spiritualist minister and medium and healer and doctor of Chinese medicine is natural and universal law. I've heard many different interesting discussions on this far-reaching topic. However, many of the discussions have been more philosophical and less practical in nature. A personal challenge for me has always been how to apply these principles in my everyday life. As I was preparing for this lesson, I shared some of what I was writing about with my wife, Reverend Deborah, who's the chair today, and she asked me in her usual Scorpio probing way, "Why is this subject so important to you?" Because I talk about this subject all the time. She always asks me the hard questions where I have to kind of look into my soul. It really made me think. And so this is what I came up with. And I'll share it with you. So many of us in the field of spiritualism and spirituality in general talk about the concepts of oneness or the infinite universe on one hand. On the other hand, us humans are dealing with some of very concrete ramifications of dualism, especially when it comes to our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. A burning question that comes up for me is, what is the relationship between our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual selves in relationship to the earth and the seasons of nature or natural law in general? It's quite obvious to me that there is a big, big disconnect by the way humans treat our planet Earth as if it's a thing, as opposed to it being an actual part of us. There's a separation there for some reason. If we truly believe in oneness, we would consider the planet Earth and its seasons as a part of us, not separate from us, but a part of who we are. We would move out of a consciousness of narcissism and self-centeredness to a consciousness of interconnectedness, honoring each other as a family of living creatures and living beings. From my perspective, we are all interconnected, meaning humanity, the animal, vegetable, mineral kingdoms, the sun and the moon and the stars and beyond. We have so much to learn by just watching the rhythms and the cycles of nature. In this light, today's discussion will be centered upon the perspective of the first two principles of spiritualism. Principle 1 states, we believe in infinite intelligence. And principle 2 states, we believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence, the expression of it. Now, I'll begin by saying a few words about the first spiritual principle. We believe in infinite intelligence. From my perspective, the concept of infinite intelligence and oneness are totally interchangeable. I say this because most mystics consider the terms infinite intelligence or oneness or God to be formless and beyond time and space. I would also like you to consider the possibility that infinite intelligence is a universal mind or state of consciousness. The one mind contains all, and all ideas in the one mind exist. Everything that ever was and will be within the context of the one mind are all there for us to access. We are a part of it. We're not separate from it. We are a part of it. I would now to take a brief minute to talk about the perception of duality or spiritual principle 2. From a spiritualist perspective, we would say we believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. And I say that over and over just to remind myself of the truth. If this is true, what is the link? What is that link between the one mind, infinite intelligence, which is essentially formless, and humanity and the phenomena of nature? Where is the link? How do we connect? There's an old saying in Taoist philosophy, humanity is between heaven and earth. I'll say that again. I say it all the time. Humanity is between heaven and earth. We humans are actually vibratory intermediaries between heaven and earth. In spiritualism, this concept is particularly applicable when you consider mediumship. When a medium connects with a loved one who has passed on from the earth plane, we are actually aligning with a reflection or imprint of their frequency. The trained medium is then able to communicate with the soul of the deceased person. Another way of saying this metaphorically speaking is through intention. We focus our mind, which acts like a dial of a radio, or in today's day and age, we make a digital connection. Our thoughts omit a frequency that has the capacity to attach on to the frequency of the so-called deceased or energetic matrix of the so-called non-living. And this is done through the higher spiritual centers, through pineal and pituitary centers. There's an actual connection, an actual link there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about dualism now. From a dualist perspective, the moment we humans are connected and conceived, not born, but conceived, we operate under a different set of laws and principles. We have expanded and transitioned from a state of beyond time and formlessness to time or form, which is known as matter. Our life force, called Qi by the Chinese, is present in two primary forces in Taoist philosophy known as yin and yang. These perceived dualities or polarities reflecting opposite reflective states operates in a continual interchange, like the positive and negative poles of a magnet. And just to give an example, if you take your hands, and if anyone would like, I invite you to try this, just take your hands and just rub your hands. And then take your hands and just move your hands out slowly, just slowly, and be aware of the sensations and the interchange of energy between the palm of your hands, where there are two minor spiritual centers. And you can feel, possibly, if you're more kinesthetically aware, you can feel like the pulsing going back and forth, sort of like a little buzz. It feels sort of like the two poles of a magnet going back and forth. And as you breathe, you can actually feel it move back and forth and back and forth. So these are the forces of yin and yang. Our life force, called by the Chinese, is present, as I said, in two primary forces in Taoism called yin and yang. These perceived dualities or polarities reflecting opposite states operates in a continual interchange, as I said before. Yang is pure energy corresponding to the universal forces beyond time and space. Yin is the energy of Mother Earth, or feminine in nature, corresponding to matter. Yang, masculine in nature, energetically is active and expansive. This energy is known as Father Sky in Native American spirituality, and it is limitless. Yin energy is receptive and nurturing. The interaction of these two forces is what determines the very nature of our being on the earth plane. When these two energies, yin and yang, are in balance physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, we're in the flow of natural law. At this point, we are healthy and whole. And so now I'll talk a little bit about the concept of interconnectedness. Again, from a spiritualist perspective, the second principle states we believe in the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, as they are the expression of infinite intelligence. Using the metaphors yin and yang, this relationship further breaks down into what is known by the Chinese as the 5 transformational phases. This makes up all living things and represents the cycles of growth and decay that we see in nature, including the human kingdom. The Taoists name each phase after the following earthly manifestations: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Each phase is associated with one of the seasons: spring, summer, late summer, fall, and winter. The energy of the 5 transformational phases manifests as birth, growth, maturation, death, and harvest and storage. Again, each phase has a season, a color, a sound vibration, an energy pathway which links to every single energy pathway of the body and the organs and the emotions and mental states. We're all interconnected. Every part of us is connected. This is known as the natural law of correspondences. Now, interestingly enough, one of our spiritualist philosophers, Andrew Jackson Davis, said, "The earth and its seasons is in each and every individual. Therefore, earth is in our energetic makeup, manifesting itself as a great electrical magnetic river flowing out and in like a ceaseless tide." Isn't that beautiful? His books are just so amazing. Now, from a Taoist philosophical perspective, this magnetic river, as Jackson said, is known as the meridians of energy operating internally and externally, within and without the human form. This magnetic river or meridian flows within the earth, and they are known as ley lines. Remember, humans are the intermediary of the heavens and earth. We're all interconnected. Now, I'll say a few words about the seasons and the emotions. Autumn corresponds to, now here's the yin and yang aspect of it. Autumn corresponds to grief, sadness, sorrow, surrender, letting go, and emptiness. So autumn is a good time to be working on those human issues that we all have. We're all dealing with this. We're all together here as a human family, and autumn is a great time to be working on those earthly parts of ourselves. Now, there are actual organs and meridian pathways which link to autumn and grief and sadness and sorrow and letting go. And they are the lungs and the large intestine. The lungs take in the energy from the heavens and the large intestine eliminates. So we have the flow of breathing in and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out. The winter, that corresponds to fear, fright, gentleness, alertness, and stillness. And the organs and meridian pathways which correspond to winter is the kidneys and bladder. And so winter is a great time to be working on fear. And we're not trying to eliminate the fear from us. What we're doing is that it's a perfect time to transcend the fear. Because as we work on transcending the fear, it actually becomes a part of us. It becomes a strength, not a weakness, a strength. So if we're willing to face the fear, our souls grow because we come onto this earth as souls to learn and to grow and to expand. Spring corresponds to anger and frustration and aggression, but also kindness and self-expansion and growth. The organs that correspond to spring is the gallbladder and liver and the solar plexus in general. Summer corresponds to impatience, arrogance, hastiness, cruelty, violence, as well as joy, honor, sincerity, creativity, enthusiasm, spirit, and radiance. And the organs and meridian pathways that correspond are heart and small intestine. And the late summer correspond to compulsive thinking. And I don't know if any of you ever experience monkey mind, but it happens to me all the time. That's the time to work on our cognition and what I call stinking thinking. Parts of ourselves that get in the way from us being whole and true to ourselves. Summer and late summer is a good time to be working on that stuff. Also, worry and sympathy and fairness, compassion, centering, and it's a time to work on our grounding of being here on the earth. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the energy centers. See, this is our link between heaven and earth and us. We can't separate ourselves from all of this. Now, magnetic rivers that Andrew Jackson talks about flow in our body and are known as energy pathways and meridians by the Chinese. There are 14 basic pathways and microcenters that connect to all the organs of the body, also the blood, the nerves, the seasons, the sun, and the moon, and the stars. There are also 21 minor centers that connect the 14 pathways and microcenters, as well as what we know as the 7 spiritual centers, as the chakras. So each center reflects the physical body, mental body, emotional bodies, energy pathways, the energy pathways of the earth, the sun, and the moon, and the stars. The physical, emotional, and mental spiritual challenges that we have as humans are a result of our false perception that we are separate or disconnected from the one or infinite intelligence. It's a false perception. As Andrew Jackson Davis indicated, most dis-ease is a result of being out of flow with natural law and the rhythm of nature. For example, according to the rhythm of nature, winter is a time when we go within. This is when our seed thoughts germinate. It's a time of rest. During the winter months, all of those ideas that have been germinating in winter are ready for action and being manifested in the springtime, cycle of nature. With humans, spring is a time for action, birth, and new beginnings. So get ready for it. Right now, it feels like winter to me, but in the spring is a time when we have that energy, that yang energy, which springs us forward. It is a time when the creative potential of heaven and earth is emerging from the stillness of winter. It is a time when the seed has the vital force or the chi to break through the earth as it reaches for the nurturing warmth of the sun, ready to grow into its full glory. As Davis said, we humans are a part of the animal, plant, and mineral kingdom and the seasons. Spring is a time of planning and decision-making. In order to manifest, there is a certain amount of planning and decision-making that has to take place in order to create in a coherent manner, especially on this earthly planet in the third dimension. In the third dimension, we have to work within certain natural laws because we're working within the context of time and space. And so, planning and decision-making is a part of the manifestation process in springtime. This is a good time to support the liver and the gallbladder, which is connected to the wood element, and to spring, and the solar plexus in general, which is reflected emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Now, for those of you who are interested in all of this, in the body, mind, connection, the connection with the energy centers, the connection with the seasons, the connection with natural law, the connection with the planets. I encourage you to delve deeper into this subject and to learn more about it. There'll be various classes coming up in Cassadaga, and you can check it out at cassadaga.org. This is there'll be more classes coming up on the practical aspects of natural law and how we can actually put it into practice in our everyday life. That's the goal, to put all these far-reaching principles that we read about from Andrew Jackson Davis and different philosophers. How do we apply it so we can change our lives? Every soul comes into this earth to grow and to expand. It's sort of like a classroom. And so natural law is our teacher. This is what gives us the oomph to move forward. And then as we learn our life lessons through this, then as we pass on to the other side of life, we bring what we have learned as souls back to the creation. We are co-creators with God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. And by working on ourselves, we contribute our knowingness, our growth, what we've learned here as souls with the Creator or with the creation or with spirit. And that's how spirit also expands and grows. It's a constant growth process, a constant expansion. So please check our classes here at cassadaga.org. Also, I'll be teaching a class myself starting January 20th on the development of mediumship and intuition and healing and psychic work and how it all interrelates with natural law. So how much time do I have here? Do I have time for some questions? Yeah. So does anyone have a question or short questions for people? Raise your hand. Yes, sir.
So when we were doing the hand exercise with the fields, you said there was 2 energy centers that were supposed to feel in the hand exercise. Was it a distance between 2, or how did the yin and yang get to the?
That's a good question. Is there energy centers in the palms of the hands that I shared, and how does that all work? Yes, there's a minor center in the palm of your hand. It's called the Palace of Weariness, but it's a 2 minor centers right in the palm, and you can practice to feel the energy bounce back and forth. And some people have a natural tendency, kinesthetically speaking, to feel it. For the people who don't, it takes time, it takes a little practice. It's a little harder in the cold weather to feel it, but the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you'll notice the rhythm of yin and yang, back and forth, the positive and negative poles of the magnets. And actually, when you're doing spiritual healing, by not even thinking about it, you'll actually feel that energy coming out of your hands through spirit, not from ourselves, but through spirit coming through us, down into the palms of our hands, and you'll actually feel that. But it's all spirit directed. Okay.
So another quick question: is there a direction from right hand to left hand and left hand to right hand that denotes the yin and the yang type of directivity?
There is a direction there, but not.
But now it's left to right hand, not that simply.
No, it's not that simple.
Okay.
But that's a good question. That will be in more advanced. It takes too long to describe that.
Keeping the idea of not losing on paper.
Right, exactly. Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
But when you put your hands together, right, and when for feeling on those.
I'm sorry. Can you speak a little louder?
hands together like this, like we did before, right?
Yeah.
Is it a physical thing that I'm feeling, or is it a spiritual thing?
Oh, it's both. You can't separate physical from spiritual. Yes, it's spiritual and it's also physical, because the energy is coming from beyond time and space. Humanity is between heaven and earth. So the energy from spirit, from the universe, comes through us. But at the same time, the earthly energy comes from the earth and nurtures us through the bottoms of our feet into our body. The frequencies intermingle between heaven and earth, which gives us the energetic matrix of each and every one of us. And actually, the solar plexus is the area where that energy is converted. And this is true in a lot of different systems of healing as well. But the most important thing is you connect with spirit and feel that energy flow through you. And then in terms of spiritual healing, the energy goes where it needs to go. You don't even have to use your thought process. It comes from spirit through us to the individual that is receiving the healing. Now, what I'm trying to do is to give some sort of a scientific basis for what actually is happening, but we're not directing it. It's being directed by the universe. All we have to do is learn how to connect to spirit, get our minds out of the way, and let it flow through us when it comes to healing. But I'm trying to share what's actually going on in our physical body as that's happening. So okay, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm being cut off. My time is up, but I'll be happy to answer any other question at another time. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all for being here on this cold evening, and look, and this. The learning never ends. So bless you all, and nice being here with you.
Yeah, I had a cheat that had this, like, over the summer that I tried, I'm just trying to apply it, I don't know, like, I was hearing what happens, so, like, they're reaching that point where, like, we don't get from our belly, then go and fight back, and we try to let out, like, your DNA might react, because there's bubbles, so it's right up, like, totally white, and that's, like, medicine, but there's, but this part, and it comes into your nerve because it's both a chakra, but at the same time also the element of the air that can have that cosmological energy there. It can be dispersed or spine nerves or cardiovascular.
I don't know if it's spiritual or physical, right?